And now we get to The Empire Strikes Back, or Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. This is where the episodic titles came in. George Lucas kind of realized that this was a 6-part epic story, whatever, when writing this thing. You probably know why, what character turns out to be who. I might say, I guess. I mean, a lot of people know it. I knew it even before I knew these movies, I think. Whatever. Anyway, The Empire Strikes Back is one of the best sequels ever in movies ever. It's one of the most important sequels also. I heard apparently when this thing first came out, a lot of people weren't a fan of it. But as time went on, people regarded this as the best Star Wars movie, and I have to agree, this movie is so awesome. The Empire Strikes Back is one of the best sequels ever, maybe one of the best movies ever made, I don't know. I mean, I consider the entire Star Wars original trilogy as some of the best movies ever made. But regardless, The Empire Strikes Back takes place 3 years after A New Hope. You know, the Death Star has been destroyed, but the Empire has been ruthlessly pursuing the rebels across the galaxy. They eventually set up base on this new planet, Hoth. Hoth is like this ice world. It's cold. It gets like negative 200 degrees at night or something like that. I don't know. And it's really hard for them to survive there, but they have to manage. And, you know, Luke is trying to... He sees these visions of Obi-Wan, and you know, he's telling him how he should train to be a Jedi and whatnot. And eventually the Empire finds them and sends these Imperial walkers after them. And, you know, they have to battle in some awesome action scenes and whatnot. And then Luke and, like, the rest of and R2-D2 go off to meet a Jedi Master called Yoda, so Luke can be trained as a Jedi. While Leia, Han, Chewbacca, and C-3PO are pretty much on the run from the Empire while they try to meet up with the other rebels. And they eventually run into an old friend of Han named Lando, who stuff happens. Lando's awesome, by the way. And we have our movie, and this movie's great. As I said before, let me say why it's great. First off, it ups the ante. Like Darth Vader, I loved him in the first one. He's one of the best villains ever. This one really solidifies, like, he's a ruthless stone cold killer. Like, you know, he wants things done his way. And in this one, if the general fails and whatever, he has no problem force choking them to death and just saying, you have failed me for the last time. Now you are the next general. Don't fail me. Yes, Lord Vader. And, you know, you really gotta feel this guy. And he's also ruthlessly pursuing Luke because he suspects something. And yeah, we'll get to that a little bit later. And, you know, Luke's mission, when you see him find Yoda and all that, you really see Yoda's like, not ready he is. I cannot train him. I can't try Yoda. I can't. I don't care. But Yoda is awesome also. Like, he's also, like, the mentor guy, the wise guy when it comes to movies. Like, you know, he has to train Luke. And, you know, Luke is obviously not ready. Like, he's pretty hasty. He kind of wants things immediately. And he has to learn Jedi aren't like that. And, you know, it's really cool seeing Luke in his journey, like, with the Force and all that, trying to master it. And, you know, this one, you really see Han and Leia kind of have this romance going on. But unlike Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, where it's forced and there's no chemistry, I really feel like these guys kind of like each other, even though it starts off with Han's like, I bet you will like me. It's like, no, I don't. Yeah, I do. And, you know, later on, they kind of get pushed together with some situations, and you realize, yeah, they do kind of like each other. And it gets to the point where there's this one line of dialogue where Leia's like, I love you, and Han's like, I know. And I actually heard that line was originally not I know, it was like, I love you too, or something like that, but Harrison Ford was like, no, I don't think that's a good line. I'm gonna say I know instead. And they did it, and they were like, yeah, that's good, we're gonna keep that. That's some awesome thing. Like, The Empire Strikes Back original script, compared to the movie, actually had a few other differences. In particular, one of the ending scenes, which I'll talk about. Again, we'll get to that. But honestly, it's a movie that deserves a lot of talking about, so why not? And when it comes down to it, a lot of the scenes where, you know, the Millennium Falcon, they're in that ship and they're running from the Empire, it's really cool. Like, they go into the asteroid field, you get some real tension, because, like, their hyperdrive keeps crashing and they can't use it, so they gotta keep relying on themselves. And those awesome space battles, which are still great to see, the effects are still good. They still hold up, and I love also the first scene where they're on Hoth, the rebels are trying to battle those Imperial walkers, and that's just, wow, it's awesome. And they use some stop motion for those also, really good stop motion. And when it comes to the special edition changes for this movie, most Star Wars fans even think the special edition is better, because there's only one part where it's kind of like an change. But even then, I'm okay with the change. I don't really care. It's like they alter when like Darth Vader finally talks to the Emperor, or we finally see him. They change some of the dialogue a little bit, and they replace the actor with the guy from Return of the Jedi, because he wasn't in this one yet. And, you know, they do that, and it's pretty cool. I like that. And a lot of everything else is really well done. The movie looks awesome still, and you really see Luke, his character is changing, and he's really realizing his responsibilities as a Jedi. It's one of the best coming-of-age stories ever, this Star Wars thing as a whole. And yeah, in addition to all that stuff, Lando Calrissian is a new character, and I love Lando. No one talks about Lando. He needs more attention. Lando's, like, cool. Like, he's this guy, you know, he's like Han Solo, except, you know, you really get a feeling that he really cares for a lot of the people, because he's, like, the head of this mining colony in the Cloud City, which is a planet, I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, you know, he really cares for his people, and, you know, he's got a, you know, he's got an attitude, but he's great at what he does, and, you know, he's kind of like he's like another Han Solo, except he's a little different, and even then, Han Solo's my favorite character, so Lando is still pretty awesome. I love that. And eventually we get to the end climax, which honestly this scene is just, everyone knows the twist, but if you don't, you can skip this and go to this time right here, because I'm going to talk a little bit about the ending and all that stuff. Like, you know, the ending when Luke goes to the end, and he kind of just stops his training with Yoda, and, you know, eventually he meets Darth Vader, and you see the lightsaber battles. Like, you know, the lightsaber battles are awesome. Like, when it comes to it, this movie really showed us, like, the awesomeness of the lightsaber duels. I love the lightsaber. And this fight's so awesome. Like, there's no real choreography to it, like a lot of prequels battles. Instead, it's just Luke, he's trying to attack Vader, and Vader's like, you can't hit me. I'm only using one arm. I'm just toying with you, boy. You know, you get to see that. And, you know, eventually gets to the point where, like, Luke's arm is cut off. Like, his hand chopped clean off. I don't think we'll ever see a PG movie ever again where that happens. And, you know, that's eventually where the ultimate plot twist in any movie ever. The best plot twist ever. Not even, like, anything else can come close. Maybe The Sixth Sense? I don't know. Whatever. But, yeah, that happens. And then, you know, this line. Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father, did he? He told me enough. He told me you killed him. No, I am your father. That moment right there, I wish I was there, like, when everyone was there, because I wanted to see, like, people's reactions to the I am your father thing, because, like, I hear that George Lucas, like, went out of his way to make sure no one knew about the thing before it came out. In fact, I remember reading that, like, only 5 people knew about it before it came out in theaters. Lucas himself, the producer, the director, James Earl Jones, the voice actor, and Mark Hamill, because Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, needed to react. And it wasn't even in the script, or even performed on set. Like, it was awesome, like, how they did that. I don't even think anything like that could ever be done today because of the internet. But it's amazing that they did that, and honestly, the plot twist just, it shocked everyone, and it's to the point where it was like, wow. And, you know, it really, this whole plot twist was actually what gave birth to the prequels, because, you know, it was, George Lucas realized Anakin, he has to turn to the dark side at some point, so I need to write the story. So this is only episode 5, we have 3 more episodes to write. And, you know, to his credit, the prequels at least tell a good story, even if it's not the best in terms of movies, but whatever. Honestly, The Empire Strikes Back is such a good movie. It's just, you need to see this movie. Like, watch the entire Star Wars trilogy, but Empire Strikes Back is really where you're going to get a lot of the awesome stuff here. Like, there's a little point in the middle where you kind of have to wait for some of the cool stuff to happen, but I don't care because it's still really entertaining stuff. And really, when I first saw this movie, I kind of liked A New Hope a little more, but the more I watched it, the more I realized my liking for this movie went up, to the point where this is honestly just probably my favorite Star Wars movie. I love The Empire Strikes Back. It's one of the best coming-of-age stories ever, it's one of the best movies ever, probably the best plot twists ever. The Empire Strikes Back most certainly gets a high percentage from me. Do I give it 100%? I don't know, but I think overall, The Empire Strikes Back is a 99%. The only real problem I have is the middle slows down a little bit, but it's still entertaining. The Empire Strikes Back is, other than that, a really perfect movie. 99%. What can I say? And next time we'll be talking about Return of the Jedi. And until then, adios, home slices. Never gonna work.